Well, thank you guys so much for joining us and having me today. It's incredible. The space is beautiful. Very quick intro on my side, and then I'll pass it to Dr. Hyder. So Andrew Garney, I support the Reality Labs testing agreement team in the B2B space. So very quick, what does that mean? Within Meta, we have a Reality Labs division, which is building out hardware and software experiences to enable kind of quote unquote the metaverse. We'll talk a bit more about what that actually means in reality. Our team is supporting more on the B2B side of that. So how do organizations, educational institutes, not-for-profits, how do they roll out these technologies at scale, and kind of what are they doing with them, right? So that's much of what we do. In terms of what we want to talk about today, and it's going to be very conversational, so please put your hand up as we go through this, is Dr. Garney and I will talk through sort of our vision at Meta, sort of what does XR, MR, AR, what does that mean post work, now in the future. And then just a bit of a general discussion on this, we'll start having that place. So what I want to do first, actually, I hope this will work, is before I jump into kind of talking about our visions, I just want to play a video. Quick hands up. Does anyone know Lex Friedman? One, yes. Okay, so Lex Friedman is two. Is a researcher at MIT. He runs this incredible podcast where he talks about a lot of the innovations in AI, Metaverse, all that good stuff. On Friday, he actually did a podcast with Mark Zuckerberg. So I'm just going to play this for you.
Following this conversation, Mark Zuckerberg, inside the Metaverse. Mark and I are hundreds of miles apart from each other in physical space. But it feels like we're in the same room because we appear to each other as photorealistic codec avatars in 3D with spatial audio. This technology is incredible, and I think it's the future of how human beings connect to each other in a deeply meaningful way on the internet. These avatars can capture many of the nuances of facial expressions that we humans use to communicate emotion to each other. Now, I just need to work on upgrading my emotion expressing capabilities. This is the Lex Friedman podcast. Now, dear friends, is Mark Zuckerberg. This is so great. Lighting change. Lighting. And it doesn't feel awkward to be really close to you.
No, it does. I actually would be back. I forgot. Well, you were like right here.
I don't know if people can see this, but this is incredible. The realism here is incredible.
Awesome. So if you haven't so check out some podcast. So what this was is the first live conversation in kind of our vision for what presence means. So these are what we're calling kind of codec avatars. They will have a much better name when we finally go live. Right now, they're built by using a pretty high-tech LiDAR scanner, which is the same thing we have in your iPhone. You go into portrait mode. Is essentially a depth sector, but quite a bit more advanced. So at the moment, it takes a decent amount of time to scan and create these avatars. The goal is in the next few years that this will be able to take your iPhone, create your avatar, and it will literally be like you are talking to. But that's so that's kind of where we're going. It's working. So we're getting a discussion.
So the scan is ahead of time. That's exactly
correct. Yeah.
It's not like real time.
No. So the avatar has been scanned. It understands kind of your muscle structure, how your face reacts, like in the real world, and then replicate that person.
And then the device is doing the detection and applying the.
Correct. Yeah. So the devices that you saw on there, the black headsets at the Quest Pro, and they have a bunch of face and eye tracking in there, which will just map to yeah. But the end goal here is that we have a pair of lightweight Ray-Ban glasses that have all of this tech in there, and you're able to actually interact with these folks as if you're sitting there. So it's a little way out, but it will happen. Yes. My God, good questions. Oh, I get so excited about this stuff.
Hi, Professor Garney, one of your students, Professor here. Some of my students are here. Hello, some of my favorite students. Hey, yeah, so I'm a professor of computer science here. I also teach some classes of game development, and also I have an AR and VR class, but I also created recently. I'm working on some other things in the works, so I'll get to you about it a little bit. Okay, I think what's kind of fun is like now it's pretty common for you to make a phone call and you see the person's face. And I feel like if I was to tell grandkids of mine or great grandkids, if they're like, wait, you used to talk to someone and you couldn't see their face, right? That would seem like such a, like, how did you talk to someone without seeing their face, right? That seems like such a strange thing. So I think as this technology, right, then like for you, they'll be like, oh, so you used to talk to someone and it was a flat picture, like, what are you talking about? How do you like, you know, so I feel like as these things, like, as it progress, like, this will be a normal thing, right? Like, yeah, this will be like a normal thing to have a 3D conversation.
It's as if you saw the slides.
We actually prepare.
Yeah, I think the reality is we have massive belief that we are on the cusp of the next technology revolution, right? If we think about the step changes in computing platforms over the last sort of 50 odd years, some of you may remember offline to online. Actually, there was one step before that, which was just writing in a notepad and then being able to write on a computer. As I said, the next step change was offline to online. Big one, desktop, mobile. I think the really interesting thing there, on what you just said, is our expectations with each of those step changes change dramatically, right? Like right now, if I order a Uber Eats or my app is slow and Google Maps is annoying and I close it, I get so mad, right? If you rebound 10 years ago, that's not even something to get out of that. And so I think the next step that we believe is this move from 2D computing to 3D computing. Right, the thing that we miss, and actually that a lot of these experiences are actually detracting from, is presence. I was actually chatting to one of the members of staff next door. We're talking a bit about how right now I sit at dinner and I'm getting a bunch of text messages. For me to go and answer those text messages, I have to remove myself from that physical thing that I'm doing, right? Either my friend gets annoyed, my girlfriend, my boyfriend gets annoyed, right? So the next step change is how do we actually augment these physical experiences and allow people to stay in the moment while still sort of having so this is kind of where we believe the what does that mean? Just talk about a bunch of stuff here. But we're already seeing families use sort of a virtual reality product on one end of the spectrum. This is everything from kind of your fitness use cases, social gaming, which is already a huge piece. It's actually where VR kind of got its roots through to sort of the commerce piece, what our team focuses on is how these devices actually show up inside organizations. I love video, and you get to listen to me that. So what does that actually mean for kind of presence and what we're developing? I'm going to play a quick video. This is our vision. This is not a like 15, 20, 25-year vision. There's a huge amount of investment that's happening across Meta in the devices and the sort of software and in UI provides to enable this. So this is what I was saying there.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual, but one day this lecture hall will be made of code, and they'll be virtual students what they'll learn together. Surgeons will be able to practice as many times as needed in the metaverse before laying their hands on a real patient. Being able to explore a spacecraft is one thing, but the metaverse will let us go farther than any rocket can take us. In the future, students will be able to take a field trip to ancient Rome. And young artists can learn their masterpiece. Farmers will one day use augmented reality to help ensure the best yield. And your plans will be able to model traffic solutions to help decrease commute times. While Metaverse can be neutral.
So it's one thing to go and get a fancy brand agency to pull this together. Right. The reality is, it's not coming today. We'll talk a little bit later about organizations that are actually actively using this today, both in sort of more of the VR space, but also some of the AR experiences that all of us are actually doing it every day, and they won't realize that we're starting that journey into the next. Cool. Very quickly, want to touch on kind of what the spectrum of those experiences look like. So you've got virtual reality, which is your fully immersive experience, right? Some of you may have tried this. It's a relatively legacy technology in reality. It's been around for 15, 20 years, if not longer. I've seen where you put your smartphone and put it in a cardboard box. That's technically kind of virtual reality. It's somewhat away from it. And then on the far end, the distinction here is you are completely removed from your surroundings. Right, so it's actually can be, depending on what you want from it, it can be quite an isolating experience, right? But the piece is that whether I'm in an airport, whether I'm sitting in a room here, at home, I can recreate any experience, right? So that's the power of virtual reality. On the other end, we've got augmented reality, which is where you are fully present in your space, and there's a digital overlay on that digital space. Then in the middle, which is the and then where we're heading in the near term, actually, quick shout out, if anyone's interested, we do people on ice bridge. So we've got two of the new so Meta launched the Quest 3 last week at our annual Connect event. We've brought a couple of them with us. The demos are not going to be perfect, but if you're interested to see sort of more of this mixed reality experience, we'll just do next door at the end. So the key difference with mixed reality, which is really exciting in the near term, what's the distinction between the two, is in mixed reality, you are present in your surrounding, okay? There are digital objects that are overlaid on that surrounding, but the key difference is that those physical objects and digital objects can actually interact with one another, right? Which is a good example. Let's say I'm sitting at my desk, a physical desk, and there's a virtual digital toy car on the top of that desk, right? I could push that digital toy car, and once it got to the end of my physical desk, it would fall off the desk. It's really, really cool technology, and as we kind of iterate on that, eventually what will happen, and our goal at least, is for these three use cases, at least these two ends, once the roadmaps go to converge. So the end goal is that we're all walking around with super lightweight pair of glasses, and we're able to have these incredibly immersive experiences without taking us time to. By the way, is there any questions that I want to probably have? Any question? Yeah, that'd be great.
What do you think is the distinction between presence and like immersion? What do you think that like you can be immersed? If I'm playing a game, you know, you can be immersed, but it's not. But the presence is sort of a different. You're feeling present, or is the majority of presence to other people. What is your
Yeah, I talked a little bit earlier. Our goal is that you experience the world more than you do that, right? If we think when we're on the train, we're walking along the road, getting hit by cars, we're all down like this, right? That's not the way that we believe that eventually people want to live in the moment. So if we can keep people living in the moment, but still have all the benefits that the digital experiences
being present.
Being present, yes.
Right. So presence is being. It's kind of like the being. It's like the being. You're being. It's like you're being here.
Yeah. You know, someone shouts at you like, "Hey, come on."
Yeah.
Be with me. Yeah. It's exactly that. So again, we've pretty much put a mix bunch of folks. I'm just very quickly talk. If people are interested in kind of what are some technologies that enable that. Go interested into this. This is like very basic stuff, but so how does that actually work? It's actually fascinating. So the first thing is like, how does a piece of technology capture an understanding of where you are in your physical present in space, right? So all of these devices, and eventually that gets smaller and smaller, a bunch of sensors, which essentially capture information around about all of the physical environment we have. The static physical experience you're in, the moving physical experience you're in, right? And this is a lot of what's starting to happen in the autonomous driving. Well, those sensors are understanding what's stationary, what's moving, and we're essentially building smaller versions of those sensors. And with those sensors, and you'll see in this the second shot here, you're going to see it next door again. Is using those sensors will actually map that space, right? So it creates what's called a point cloud of the environment by measuring constantly the distance between you and all of those physical objects. So there's a ton of compute power has to go in to constantly know, oh, is Andrew getting closer to safety or is Andrew getting further away? Without it seeming janky, right? We don't want this to walk and then suddenly each other a little bit and it stays kind of in the same place. It has to be absolutely seamless. And then the next piece of that is when you understand the environment, is how you sort of track the device movement and orientation in relation to that. So lots of really, really exciting and pretty complex features. So and then displaying the audio right now. Headsets are relatively bulky. This one's a bunch better. It's like 40% lighter than the first two, but it's not something to know about any right? It's going to be very focused on high ROI use cases, or if you're in a very specific experience, right? I'm not going to be walking around Lubin with this thing in my head. That would be the big slide. That would be the character traits. So our goal is to continue to reduce the form factor, lenses. Another huge bit I want to talk a bit about that later, since the AI piece is the UI.
If you have an AI slide later. I do have an AI slide. Okay. So you have all these sensors, and I think what's happening, and the reason we're experiencing this is we've had improvements in sensors and cameras and all these things. But the huge thing is the AI and the machine learning, which has gone to a huge leap. So it's not just getting the, if I look at this panel on the wall there, right? The AI has to know that that is a wall and not a floor, and also not a door, right? So if you look at that, oops, it's a door, right? So the AI has to be able to figure out if that's a door or a wall, or not a floor. Or not. So we've had such huge improvements in the sensor side of the cameras, but the AI is really figuring out that, okay, I'm going to put this on. The AI is doing all that interpreting and figuring out what that thing is, not just that there is a thing there.
100%. Yeah, if anyone's interested, it's now a public project, ARIA, you can look it up. And that's essentially exactly this, is how we build these AI and machine learning models to be able to identify objects crazy quickly and at a really high degree of accuracy. We're about 85–90% accuracy on most common objects now, which is pretty cool. So you can sort of put on your headset, glasses, whatever, and know this is an orange, or that's a chair, it's a car. That stuff is pretty good when you're running, but you can see it easily 100%. Very, very quick one for anyone who's kind of new to what this actually means is, if you tried a sort of very immersive virtual reality experience a few years ago, we were typically limited to these sort of 3 degrees of freedom, right? Which means that you're stationary in one spot and you can look around, you feel immersed, but you're not actually able to be closer to that object or further away. So the big shift was when all of the experiences and the technology caught up to experience kicked off, which is 6 degrees of freedom. So essentially that means you can look around and move. So this is what I get more excited about. So we, my team and I, we support the B2B team within the Arts Lab. So that means we're working with organizations on how they actually use this technology today to roll stuff out. And the exciting thing is when there is higher ROI against some of these use cases, it's actually easier to use it right now, right? If someone is, I've got some good examples here, but if someone's doing some high value technical training, and you can reduce the time spent on that by 50%, let's go do it now, right? This is, because you don't need to be in a headset and to do that. you can do something in 30 minutes in a headset that would have taken you 5 weeks outside of it, or cost a ton more money and flying people around the world. But that's something you do today. It's not limited to 5 some of the technological channels. So yeah, we believe that just as you bring your iPhone to school, to work, at home, we believe that when this technology does have that tipping point, it will transform to the way that we live. Personally, one more video. This is real. So these are examples of organizations we currently work with. We're using the technology on a daily basis.
What we're seeing today is a successful eye surgery. And this, the dedicated hours of virtual training that made it. Academic advancements are being achieved every day through collaborative hands-on learning. Upskilling careers, now made possible through immersive environments. Crucial units reflected in simulated training settings. Coming back from nature, with training designed to improve performance. These are the ways the Metaverse is being used every day today.
So I'll finish by talking a little bit about some of the organizations that are presently using this every single day. At the moment, within sort of our part of the organization, we typically see it sitting in these 4 buckets of how folks are using this technology. The biggest one is learning and training. There's still such a high cost associated to doing hands-on technical training, even soft training, particularly when you have to sort of get everyone in the same room and flying instructor and all that stuff. So that is where we see most of the investment being made right now. Another big piece is creativity and design. So that's being able to actually physically and digitally inspire that workflow for designing, instead of having to make a physical replica of that thing, like shoe that you're making, getting some pop it into reality and actually grounded in the future. Meeting and collaboration, we have a first funded product that we're building out at the moment with workrooms, where it's the this one is everyone. So this is kind of the first iteration of what the meeting and collaboration look like. So this is one that's actually the team that's sort of this is amazing, of course, in terms of the impact on our world that we've seen the last few years. So that's actually huge. So Pfizer, one of sort of the big 3 to actually basically take the world. I don't think that's kind of going too far. And a big part of it is they designed the vaccine, but then the reality they have to stand up these production lines that have never been produced before, right? So they're having to produce billions of doses of a vaccine that they don't know so costly. So how do you train up all of these folks working in manufacturing facilities at scale without flying to physical places where they could test the machines and ensure they're doing it right? Like, this is great advice. And so what they did is they actually built the entire manufacturing process in virtual reality, and they had all of those still updated, slightly larger than that. But they trained all of the folks who were actually developing that vaccine in VR before they got on that production. Right? I think something that we always like to say is that a lot of these mixed reality training experiences make it safe to fail, right? I don't know you guys. I don't want the first time someone making a vaccine to be when they walk in on a Monday morning and see it in the lab. So this is a huge project that we worked on with them. As you can see here, there's sort of more than 60% time savings on a bunch of different trainings that they did, and they did 80% a bunch of folks to it in person or on 2D screens and then some in VR. And the biggest one is the cost side of it, right? $23,000 per person. You can imagine imagine the number of folks that end up being a part of this manufacturing process. So over a year, manufacturing run, that's millions of dollars. So this is a really, really cool project. A couple of quick ones that I just mentioned. Again, all of these right now are in sort of the medical field, because it is where there is a very high ROI and initial cost associated with doing this training in person. So people replicate that. It's a very cool thing. Center for Healthcare Innovation, and they built out this sort of 6 techniques for blood taking, and they actually created that in the US. All of the new folks for whom they have never actually taken blood from anyone, they trained them all up. So UPL in London created a digital twin of their labs. One of the challenges they had is folks were coming in as kind of first years and candidly breaking all of the equipment. So it was costing them a fair bit each year. And so they recreated that experience in VR, used it as part of an onboarding experience for the students actually coming into the university. So they get around a room, meet everyone, and then have these virtual pilot experiences with other students in a VR twin of the lab, and then they go into the lab physically themselves. The last one quickly mentioned, a little about people are interested, please come grab me afterwards. We've got lots of different sections. But I love this one. So PK Energy, they're a massive energy provider here in the US, and they've gone completely further. Some of their certifications that a lot of their technicians, either since the nuclear power plants, just the oil, gas, they're actually doing their certifications in VR before they go and do it in real life. I'm going to do this. We've got. This is the product that we're building out at the moment. Collaboration piece. But this is really the idea of how to create an experience for folks who are co-located in different places. So this is experience where you've got some folks who are physically in one, it says in one design workshop, but then you've got others who are not there. So there will be avatars of people who are not there in the physical space with the folks who are there in the room. If I created a table here, that same table would be replicated in the other spaces. So this is some stuff that's not far away. This is kind of our portfolio. So here at Meta, we're building both the hardware and the experiences. Along the bottom are some of the software you grab it. First party talk here for us to work with the specific migration piece, web business, which handle all the stuff out at scale. It's one thing to go and give a bunch of people headsets, but if they don't have the right that's not so. You'll see here, I'm just talking about sort of our closed headset roadmap here. So how we included is we have a partnership with Tawkify, and we are including smart glasses, the very bad smart glasses, the new version of those, which came out last week, which I think the first had with an AI system in it, which is really cool. So you'll have to get a similar, I'm sure you guys have tried ChatGPT. Imagine ChatGPT in software for smart glasses. For those long, so the goal will be that those roadmaps converge, right? You've got your fully encased roadmap, and you've got your optical roadmap, and they will eventually converge. So you have like very nice classes. How many time? 4 more minutes. Give you a question for that. Oh, I have a suggestion. I thought it was very cool. In one of the videos you showed the training, somebody was doing something, it's like a little slower, right? So you have that immediate feedback and their which is like kind of cool. You can just at home, they can just mail you a box with headset, software preloaded, you do it and do the training, but it's also there isn't like a trainer there, right? Who has to be physically there. Like the headset is like a little slower, but faster, whatever. You've got to use, also the eye thing. Thank goodness, I don't even know how they trace for that. I'm saying when the person's in the surgery. Oh, I see. I have places to be with. Yeah, I want to mention some couple things we have going on here. Dr. Sharp and Berkeley.
Dr. John Garney got a grant, and what this is for is they're using wearables with cameras and glasses and sensors, right? Also, and some AR stuff in there. And basically, the idea is for pre-hospital care. So when someone, you're in an accident, and you have the time between that getting you from there to the hospital, right? There's a bunch of data that can collect and things they can do. And one of our professors here is got a research grant to do this sort of evaluating technologies, but it's all like head-mounted cameras, wearables, all kinds of stuff like that, and that data can be sent ahead of time or collected or stuff like that. So it's the future is now.
But how can folks get involved?
I don't know.
Okay. Because you raised a good point there on the training piece. I think the other bit is training scale. Like, particularly if you're in a classroom or you're training on a new piece of equipment, everyone's looking at you, and that's the first time you're going to do it. That's not fun, right? So if you can have people understand and do the training ahead of time, then they don't have to do that. I'll take on the start very quickly. Which I mentioned this earlier, but like, it doesn't work without AI. So we've been investing in AI for years and years and years. It started like we use Instagram or Facebook. The new seeds, how you see that, like that is an AI, but for the metaverse, I think it sits in these kind of five pockets. The present platform is how do you take that identity between different experiences, and how do those avatars get much more lifelike, actually our interaction with a person, even for thousands of miles away. Democratized world building. We have a product called Horizon Worlds. At the moment, you can go and create a world and hang out in it. It takes way too long to create this, right? So eventually, we want to be in a place where if I need to experience something, I can say, hey, to create me a 6x10 room, fill it with 12 desks and 4 chairs. Because I'm really using the 4 chairs, 12 desks. But the AI-centric OS, this is something that we're investing a huge amount in, right? At the moment, a lot of the experiences you see, whether that's even in our products, Apple announcement earlier this year, essentially what's happening is taking a 2D OS and UI and we did 3D, right? The reality is that is probably not where we will end up, right? It needs to understand how we're going to reduce the friction to interact with that UI. I don't always want to be pressing on buttons, even if they are virtual and relatively low time. Eventually, we want to be doing things like taking the energy signals and the risk to understand, hey, I want to go to my camera, or I want to click this, and then so loads about that. Last quick shout out, and facility, this is amazing. We launched an open API, so if anyone is super interested, you have to go and play with this now. So we've seen with AI. It will be its natural live language translation. So previously you go to Google Translate and it sounds like a robot speaking back to you. This one you can actually go speak to it or listen to it in a different language and it will live translate. And the AI will actually sound like a human. So we have one more question or we?
I have Dean Jonathan Hill who would like to make an announcement. Or remarks.
Activities at the Steidenberg School, and many of them are being run through our program with colleagues in Singleton, in National Office of Lubin. So there is a whole lot of synergy that's going on here, and we are trying to take best of these technologies to start and Dr. Gaida are championing teaching and trying to bring them together, technology students, business students, and we like business students, law students, all of the other folks that are comprehensive university like Facebook together. And then when we have collaboration and input from Microsoft, one example, great things. So, we provide and we really look forward to.
So that's how we can help, the big chunk of the answer that's engineering, product, things, we're in your, so literally opposite, Madison Square Garden is where a lot of this stuff is actually being built, so there's other ways that, you know.
As Dean Hill said, I teach like an AR VR and Metaverse stuff. And some of the classes that I do that are related to these technologies, I get like film students and art students, and that's not just computer science students like that. Because it's like another tool. Photoshop's a tool. Some of this VR stuff and AR is like another tool for
Yeah, I think a lot of these experiences are built in the Unreal Engine or the Unity Engine, which is kind of selling build experiences for film school or other, probably for many of a lot of those special effects.
you're gonna have these next door, right?
I am, yes. Because of some of the Wi-Fi issue, it may not be the perfect demo of it, but things come saying about master seconds, and you can try it on and see the sort of mixed reality aspects of it, because it's very useful to support that.
And things are coming out next week, so we have an early.
Yeah. These are early. They come out next week, so I'll have to kindly ask the photos to find it. But yeah, it's ahead of production on the guys. Hence why I put them there. Because probably not coming back, really not have a job.